Well done, gentlemen. Patrick, thank you so much. That was just great. And Colonel Diller, we certainly thank you. And we move on with our program here on America's Future Series National Pitch Day. I'm Scott Murray. This is the gentleman that was the founder and presently the CEO over a decade ago of the America's Future Series, David Hamilton. We're delighted to welcome you, and we move on and introduce to you our two co-hosts for the day, our co-chairs, I guess, better put. First of all, I'm going to talk about Major General Bo Young in a remarkably varied and distinguished career, I might add. He has served as Chief of Staff for the largest three-star command in the entire U.S. Army, managed one of the largest rebranding projects in retail history, reorganized a major healthcare system, and helped grow companies, set strategy and growth plans in action. Now, as a Major General in the Army Reserve, Bo was handpicked to create the Army's 75th Innovation Command, focused on bringing high technology, non-traditional company technology into the Army and leveraging the scientific and business skill sets inside the Army Reserve. He currently serves as the CEO of Peacemaker Partners. This is an organization that helps growing companies effectively scale and penetrate the sometimes obscure Department of Defense marketplace. We are most grateful for his leadership, and today his leadership as the co-host, the co-chair of the National Security Showcase and Pitch Day. Welcome, sir. And joining Bo is Dr. Greg Leman. He is a transformation and innovation-focused global executive and consultant. In his work at Blueprints Lab, he focuses on connecting research faculty, startups, and entrepreneurs at all levels, especially in the tech field, to strategize and execute an effective business plan while connecting them to investment partners and decision makers in their respective industries. At Higher Education Innovation, better known as HEI, he serves as a transformational coach to higher education's research departments. He assists college and university presidents and administration leaders in making the critical pivots essential to move an institution into sustainable impact matching 21st century needs. We are most grateful for his work along with his colleague, Casey Leman, as co-chairs of the National Security Showcase and Pitch Day. And ladies and gentlemen, their introductions were so long and those bios just incredible that unfortunately we're going to have to wrap it up today and we won't be able to hear it from them until next week. Any response, gentlemen? That was a joke. I'm just totally blown away with this incredible bios from both of you. We are most honored to have both of you here today. We can't thank you enough for being a part of our America's Future Series. Thank you to you both so much. Welcome.
Thanks, Scott and David. I know Greg and I are thrilled with today's lineup. Glad to be associated with America's Future Series, and the content that we have today, I think, is really, really important. And we have something for everybody. Whether you're a brand new company trying to figure out how to understand and how to get your product in front of some influencers and decision makers, or whether you've been around a while and you've gone through, say, an SBIR grant, and you're looking to scale to that next level. I think our content is such that there'll be really something for everybody.
Absolutely, and I want to echo my thanks for the opportunity to help and to be part of this. And one of the great pleasures of that is getting to know this general quite a bit better. And so thank you, Bo, for all that you've done. And I look forward to batting this back and forth with you today. We're going to. One of the things that occurred, we want to talk a little bit about. What people can get from today, right? And is it the right time to jump into that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one of the things I'm making some notes as scribbling pretty fast when Colonel Diller and Secretary Murphy were talking, and I really love the tone of optimism in the face of these critical and massively complex challenges that are wrapped up. I mean, we kind of can just talk about that and gonna gloss right over it, but in the field and in the lab, both, this is tough stuff. And one of the things I appreciated about that is it didn't point simply to great tech. I mean, America has a history of being a great place for innovation, but it's also innovation in the process of how we bring it, from the idea stage all the way to the field. And that's the good news in those messages is that innovation is happening, in both of those ways. And it's not everywhere, but it's more and more places and more times. So what I would really encourage people to use today, you're going to hear from some of the leading voices and deepest thinking people that have the most grounded reality possible in this set of challenges. And so I'd encourage you to think about three things. How can I use that? One question. How can I improve that? And how can I share what I already carry and what's been given to me to steward that others could use. So David didn't really have a chance to go over the whole agenda, I think, while we were live, but I want to point to a couple of things. So the very first panel you're going to hear from is more of a success story case study than a panel talking about a topic. And they've learned some things, but they haven't learned everything that they want to know. And so really reflect on that. But what they're going to tell you is that this can work. And like what Colonel Diller said, there are now multiple examples of really big things happening really quickly. And frankly, last October when we met for a similar event, we weren't hearing a lot of those. We were hearing a lot of the size of the problem. And so I'm excited you'll have that. And when we get ready to wrap up, we're going to kind of give some perspective with our final panel. And Lieutenant General Mike Dana is going to share some of his thoughts. And then a group of leaders that fund innovation across the branches of DoD are going to really try to say not only what do they love about what's working, but also what are the biggest challenges. And these are I think all men who have paid the price to be there and have lived through the tough stuff. So I think you're going to really learn a lot. And Bo, I know you want to talk about some of the panels that you've been more involved with, but that's my input. I said, learn today. The process of connecting to these tech companies, can happen over the next 45 days. But figure out what you need to know about how you can learn and how you can give back.
Yeah, I think there's some really interesting things about the way our day is organized. So it's called the National Security Pitch Day, and there are multiple companies, dozens of companies that have submitted a pitch. Those pitches have been evaluated, and we're prepared to provide feedback, good and bad, as the case may be, on those pitches to every single company that took the time to put together a pitch and a video and all the content that was required. Tonight at 5:30, we'll announce who the blue ribbon designees are. So these are the companies that the judges felt did the best at putting together their story, if you will. It talked about the problem, talked about their solution, talked about how they would go to market, talked about what they would do with the money that they are seeking, and also talked about the management team. So we have 9 different companies that just did a killer job on that, and we'll be it's a big secret right now, but tonight at 5:30, if you show up, we'll let you know who did that. And I want to thank Meritorious, the company that's sponsoring the event tonight, for all their organization and putting all that together. So we have the pitches, but the pitches kind of take place really underneath the hood, if you will. And then we have all this terrific content today, of which you heard, of course, from Colonel Diller and Secretary Murphy to kind of get us kicked off. I think there's a couple things I'd highlight. One of the things that Secretary Murphy talked about, of course, is the competitive threat, primarily from China. And I think it's actually important for technology companies to take a step back and make sure they understand the strategic context of where the military is going. So that means understanding the primary threats, understanding why they're threats, and then also understanding the actual doctrine that goes along with how the military is going to engage them. So it doesn't mean you have to be a doctrinal expert at all, but it means really, honestly, you need to be kind of conversant in how the military is looking at these problem sets, because that ultimately will translate into a demand signal that Colonel Diller also talked about the technology needs that the military is going to get. So it's not just enough to, come up with, look at this robot I have. This robot does really cool things. It may in fact do really cool things, but what you need to understand is the military will look at it as, how does this robot sort of fit into the grand scheme of things? How does it fit doctrinally? How is it going to work within the context of this? And it really kind of all ties back. You can tie it back linearly to the original problem, peer competition, et cetera. So sometimes we're really focused on the little, the wizardry of the tech, but you have to make sure that you really understand the strategic context as well. And so I think today we'll do a really good job of doing that. You already heard from Colonel Diller. We are really fortunate to have former Secretary of Homeland Security, the Honorable Kirstjen Nielsen, and she's going to talk about national security issues. She's going to talk about some technology that's been, it's intriguing in terms of solving those issues. And then we have a panel later in the day that's actually going to talk about global markets. So beyond the sort of the obvious, which is, hey, don't take Chinese money in your fund, okay? That's kind of a, or if you do, be sure you understand the limitations that's going to have as you try to do business with the federal government. But they're going to talk also about global markets and how to look beyond the United States, how to look to some of our allies, both as a customer and as a partner. So I think that's really interesting content that you don't get in a lot of forums kind of like this, and that other organizations are putting on. So a lot of really cool stuff coming today, and just excited to be part of it.